everybody, Karyn Bryant here with...
What's up, guys? Alan Jouban back at you guys.
Oh my God, look at folks. We're back together. So Alan and I, we were working together at ESPN this weekend, and we used to do the podcast together. We're like, we got to get the band back together, Alan. So let's just do a little something, huh?
Yeah, we kind of after doing this show, we had a really good show that last weekend, the TJ fight, and so we were thinking, you know what, we'll bring you guys a little bit of a preview for this main event. Only we're going to try to keep it under 10 minutes, right, Karyn? We'll see what happens with a short preview. Get you guys excited for this fight coming up.
That's right. So I even set a timer and everything. So yeah, we want to talk about Uriah Hall versus Sean Strickland, and also I think part of the reason this one is a good one for us to start on is you have trained with Sean. I don't know if you've trained with Uriah, but he's a guy that spent a lot of time here in Southern California. Obviously he's a striker. You and I were working the night, so both of these guys fought on Halloween, right? That was the night that Uriah beat Anderson Silva. It was incredibly emotional. We were both there. That was also the night that Sean Strickland was fighting, and that was the Marshman fight, I guess, where he was talking to him.
We was talking the whole time.
Yeah. Exactly. So we're both familiar with these guys. And overall, Alan, my take on this is it's an exciting fight for two guys in the middleweight division, which is actually kind of open, other than Izzy. And, there's some stuff at the top, but there's room for stars to emerge.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And speaking of stars emerging, that's what Sean did. Because Sean was the guy that was going back and forth. He was in the welterweight division, obviously, for a while, but he had toyed in the middleweight division. I'd spoken to you about that before, Karyn, when I said, man, when I sparred this guy Sean before he was kind of a name somewhat, I was like, he gives me so much trouble. He's so good in the gym. He's been vocal about this before, how if he could perform how he's performed in the gym, inside of the octagon, he would be a champion. Michael Bisping gave him a little bit of flack on that. But it's true. He's very, very good in the gym. And I would assess him, somebody who's gone against him personally, he's good everywhere. I mean, very, very good in the striking. Tremendous jiu-jitsu, really, really good takedown defense. He's not really offensively a wrestler, but defensively, he's very tough to take down and very tough to maintain. So he's a guy that's big for the welterweight division, big for the welterweight, falls into the middleweight division perfectly.
Yeah.
But he's going against Uriah Hall, who is a great, an athlete, a great physique, has a 3.5 reach advantage over Sean Strickland, which normally Sean kind of has a reach advantage on other people. So it's going to be an interesting little matchup with somewhat of power versus quantity of strikes that Sean Strickland brings.
Well, and so to kind of set the stage for people too, my graphics really aren't that great, Alan, but but here they are. So yeah, so Uriah Hall, the little stats on him: 36 years old. His record is 17-9. He's got 13 knockouts out of those 17 wins. So he is on a 4-win streak, though. So the last 2 wins were Weidman. We know what happened.
Yeah.
For Chris. But thankfully, Chris is on the mend. And before that was Anderson Silva. That was on Halloween. And both of those were scored as TKO victories. Before that, he beat Shoeface by split decision, Antonio Carlos Jr. And before that, he beat Bevan Lewis by knockout. Prior to that was that loss to Bohashinya, to Paulo Costa. That was out in Vegas. That was at UFC 226. That was in July of 2018. I remember that fight. Uriah was doing well. I believe he actually dropped Costa. But then Costa was able to come back and turn it around and eventually win the fight. On the flip side, Sean Strickland, 30 years old, 23-3 is his record. He's got 10 knockouts, also on a 4-win streak, but his have been, he had a unanimous decision over Jotko, TKO over Brendan Allen. That was at a catchweight, though.
Which is a huge win, though.
I know, it really was, because Brendan Allen just won this past weekend over Soriano, and Brendan Allen is on the come up.
Phenomenal.
For sure. So before then was that Marshman decision, and then a Nordine Taleb TKO over him. But he lost to Eliseo Zaleski dos Santos at welterweight, who is very good. So yeah, like you're right, because when Sean was a welterweight, it was like, yeah, that dude's massive. But he does fit right in there at middleweight.
And he's got a very odd style. It's hard to explain because defensively, a boxing coach would never tell you to put your arms out and almost karate block, where in karate they kind of meet the punch somewhat halfway and block it. But Sean has a very deflective type style. Going against him, you try to get around him, but he doesn't keep his guard close like most guys do, where you're trying to kind of find the angles around the guard right here. He comes and he meets you because he has very long arms and he keeps his chin kind of tucked back. So he has almost in a a positive way, a zombie approach. Sean walks forward, he keeps his arms long, and you have to try to punch around these long arms while he deflects them. And he also chambers very funny. A lot of guys chamber here, they fire there. Sean will kind of chamber from the inside and punch outward. So you'll see, guys, when you watch his fight, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's very subtleties. It's something that a coach would never tell you to do, but if it's something that you're able to master, add it to your arsenal and be very good at it, that's what Sean has done. He's very, very good at it, and it throws a lot of guys off when they fight him for the first time.
So the question I have for you is about Uriah, though, because especially in that Costa fight, and I don't want to say who I was working with at the time, or well, you could look it up, or which person said this rather, but the idea was that maybe Uriah is better when he's a hammer, but when he's the nail, he's not doing so well. Now, I can say that perhaps that was true. I'm not sure that was this person's opinion, but one thing I will say is, and I think it's been pretty evident that since Uriah's moved to Fortis and training with Saif Saad, like he is just doing so much better. And when you hear Saif talk about him and talk about what a leader Uriah is, I've always gotten along great with Uriah. So I don't know if it was like the Jamaican connection or whatever from way back on top, but like I like the guy a lot, and I like to see him succeed, even though he beat my dear friend Gegard. That would hurt.
Gegard got it back, right?
Gegard, I think got. Yeah. I think he got all of his.
One, I believe.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Gegard has avenged all his losses. Actually, by the way, we're going to be doing an interview too, because I love me some Gegard. But my point is that Uriah is, when he was on The Ultimate Fighter, remember that was the whole thing. Like Dana was wondering, does this guy even want to be a fighter? And like, they were worried about his mentality and all that. And especially if we see now in the world of professional athletes, people are recognizing the importance of the mental game in your overall performance. But yeah, to me, Uriah, everything is firing on all cylinders for him right now. So even though Sean is streaking as well, I think that Uriah is at his most dangerous ever and has been looking incredibly good and just feels good. The one thing I will say, though, is to go in the octagon after what just happened with Chris, like that is a little bit interesting to me.
That's
like,
a good point.
That's
a good point.
Yeah, how his mentality will be going into this fight, knowing what happened last time in the octagon. Other than that, though, I expect a great performance out of Uriah.
Uriah Hall is someone that is a fantastic fighter, and you said it, 13 knockouts out of 17 victories. That's super impressive. That's a high percentage rate. With a guy with that type of knockout ratio, Uriah Hall doesn't like to hurt people. He's coming in after that Chris Weidman leg break. He doesn't like seeing that. You remember in The Ultimate Fighter, spinning back heel kick, knocks the guy out, becomes a highlight for the ages. And Uriah was devastated after that. He hurt somebody. Right. He doesn't like to see that. You said it. He's at Fortis MMA now. He's got a coach that has understanding with him. And so I think a mentally strong and confident Uriah is the best Uriah. And that goes true with every fighter. But to your point, in the past, Uriah has had this side where he wasn't sure what he wanted to do. He wanted to fight and be the best, but he didn't want to hurt somebody. He's got these mix-up. He's in the wrong sport, right? If you don't want to hurt somebody, you have to be okay with it. But I think he's found the right place. I also don't want to overlook Uriah Hall has much more big show experience than Sean Strickland. I do think that Sean Strickland, mentally, he could go in and do whatever. He's that type of guy. He doesn't need. I don't think Sean Strickland's the type of guy that needs a pep talk, if you know what I mean. He's the guy like, whatever, throw me in there, I'll fight. Sure. He's bounced around at gyms throughout his entire life. He's bounced around different weight classes, different coaches, different people in his corners. Sean doesn't matter. Sean doesn't care. Sean's just there to fight and do his thing. Sean gets into his world and his flow. Uriah, on the other hand, is somebody that much more needs to be comfortable, needs to have that Mr. Miyagi saying, look, I'm here for you. I'm in your corner, Uriah. So, again, to go back to your point, I wouldn't say Uriah Faber is a bad nail. Uriah just needs the right people supporting him to get the best out of him. He's got the best out of him right now with his coach right now. We should see a very strong Uriah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really good fight. We're at the 9-minute and 27-second mark, Alan. So we're gonna wrap it up. Where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, guys, nothing has changed at Alan Jouban and all my social media sources. And give us a follow, guys. I just moved into a new place. I'm still getting things together. Our show is going to be rocking and rolling. And I am retired now. I'm a retired fighter. So you're going to see me more at the desk with Karyn and a little more time to we'll put in some good work on these shows.
Absolutely, yeah. So it may not be the MMA Heat podcast, but we are back together. We were going to do more stuff together. It was just that we just needed to try some other things, but I think this might be a fun thing to do, like quick type of thing where we preview maybe 1 or 2 fights from a card and keep it short. So yeah, so on Instagram and KB Heat. Over on YouTube and on Twitter, everywhere else, it's Karyn Bryant, Karyn, Bryant as in Kobe, no relation, but may he rest in peace. Yeah, like Alan said, hit that subscribe button and yeah, enjoy the fights.
Take care, guys.